Hey, beloveds. So, I'm kind of like going out of order with this particular message, okay? Because today, well, I'm going out of order because I want to talk about tax fraud, not just the people that is reporting falsely on their taxes, but also tax preparers. I believe this is a time that God want to get everybody's attention concerning this matter. Like I told you all, I had a dream, and I will tell y'all about that dream when I get to talking about tax fraud a little more. Okay, um, because I think this is an important topic, and it shows the true character, the true inner existence of people's character. Like I stated, so I'm going to continue that, and I those videos I will release at 10 p.m. Until I'm complete talking about tax fraud or what that means biblically. But this one is called, you see my title, The Heart That Toils. Why Rest is the Evidence of Truth. I was listening to a message today, and while I was listening, something in my spirit became alert. The words were there, but the source was off. Before I continue talking, the reason why I've always written stuff out, and I've expressed this. But before, if you go in old uh, videos of mine, you see how sometimes I read from the paper and then sometimes I just flow, right? The reason why most of my messages is written out and I read what I've written is because I told you I dealt with a fibroid, and for women that have had children, you know that when the baby is developing in your womb, it causes brain fog, it causes emotional imbalance, it causes forgetfulness, it causes all type of things because the chemicals in your body is adjusting, shifting. The hormones, what I mean about chemical, the hormones in your body is adjusting, shifting. So since I have experienced this fibroid, it was making my body act as if I was carrying a baby. So this is why a lot of my messages is written out, and I read from the paper so I can stay on task, because I have so much sometimes be going through my head at one time. And sometimes I don't stay steady, and I can say that about me. Sometimes I do not stay steady, and I want to stay steady to get the message out. So still, there's times I still drift away, but I bring myself back. So that's why when you have a fibroid in your womb, not on the outside of your womb, when you have a fibroid in your uterus, it causes a chemical imbalance, but it causes emotional imbalance, brain fog. So anyways, I come back to it in a minute, but I just said it. Um but yeah, the heart that toils, why rest is the evidence of truth. I was listening to the message today, and while I was listening, something in my spirit became alert. The words were there, but the source was off. While I was listening to this message, this sermon, this teaching, it was all in one. I felt like the words were there, but the source was off. I could hear the toil underneath the sermon. It wasn't coming from a place of truth, formation, resilience, or real faith. I can hear the strain. I could hear the push or see the push. I could see the flesh trying to produce what only the spirit can sustain. It wasn't that the message itself was completely wrong, but the spirit behind it wasn't clean. It was coming from fear, anxiety, and a heart that knew its time and that posture was up. What really caught my attention was the way he was breathing. He was breathing like he was doing an aerobic workout. His body was laboring, his chest was working, his breath was short. That's not how someone sounds when they're ministering from the spirit. You're at rest, you are calm. That's how someone sounds when they're pushing from the flesh. When I got home and I was, in my room, um I surrendered this to the Lord. I was talking to the Lord about it, and the Holy Spirit made it clear and said it's like having a heart attack, not physically but spiritually. In other words, this is what it looks like when the flesh is trying to carry spiritual weight it was never designed to carry. The heart is under pressure, it's strained, it's divided, it's working against itself. Not that the person is not used to carrying spiritual weight, but spiritual weight as spiritual weight that requires to minister, but they was carrying extra spiritual weight because they probably is out of alignment. The Lord wasn't talking about a medical emergency. It was describing the condition of the inner heart. When someone is ministering from fear, anxiety, or self effort instead of truth and alignment, the spirit the spiritual heart reacts the same way a natural heart reacts under pressure. I said it again. The spiritual heart acts the same way a natural heart reacts under pressure. It starts to labor, it loses rhythm, and it tries to compensate for weight it cannot hold. And there are scriptures that talks about this, like Ecclesiastes 10. The labor of the foolish wearies every one of them, because he does not know the way to the city, which means it is someone working hard because they're not working from God's direction. That's what toil look like. Isaiah 32:4, the heart of the rash will understand knowledge, and the tongue of the stammers will speak plainly. A pressured heart shows up in the mouth. When the heart isn't settled, the delivery isn't either. So, people that have been ministering for a long time, I'm talking about, when I say a long time, uh 5 years or more, like on a consistent basis, they can know how to deliver the word and they can know the word of God. But it doesn't mean because they've been ministering for 5 years or more that their heart is settled in what they are doing. Because it should not look like toiling. A person shouldn't see you're toiling. If a minister is teaching or um, preaching, and they are toiling while they're doing it, it takes me back to Genesis, where um, God cursed Adam and said that he will toil. Let's see, to be more accurate in what God told Adam. Genesis 3:17. God told Adam, because you have listened to the voice of your wife and have eaten from the tree of which I commanded you not to eat, cursed is the ground because of you. Through toil, you would eat of it all the days of your life. So that's what God told Adam. But, and it's not that when I talk about this and I reference Adam, because the pattern of toil matches the curse, but the cause is misalignment. And it's not God cursing anyone, the cause is misalignment. So Psalms 38:10 says, my heart thrives, my strength fails me, and the light of my eyes, even that has gone from me. David described a breath that is laboring, a breath that is laboring because something is off internally. It expresses a physical and emotional distress. And some people has interpreted as such, has interpreted as a physical emotional distress, guilt of divine discipline, and a burden that pulls on the spirit. Well, a guilt and divine discipline, and a burden that pulls on the spirit. So Proverbs 28:1 says, "The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous is bold as a lion." Fear makes people move and speak like they're being chased, even when nothing is after them. Jeremiah 9:5 says, "Everyone deceives his neighbor, and no one speaks the truth. They have taught their tongues to speak lies. They weary themselves to commit iniquity." When motives are wrong, people wear themselves out trying to keep up the image. So let's talk about how the heart functions under pressure, medically and spiritually, okay? Um when God said the heart, it's like having a heart attack, he wasn't talking about a medical emergency. He was talking about, I feel like he's talking about when a person is ministering from the flesh and carrying pressure they were never designed to carry. The natural heart gives a picture of what's happening spiritually, right? Medically, when the body is under stress, I'm not calling myself a doctor, y'all. I'm just telling y'all this is public information out there. You can go and find it. When the body is under stress, fear, or pressure, the heart responds in predictable ways. Your heart rate increase, your breathing becomes shallow, your chest muscles tighten. This is all out there. This is free information. The body burns energy faster. This is why there was rapid aerobic style breathing. Because I saw him, it looked like, it seemed like he was having an aerobic workout. Um, like I said, it is why it seemed as if it was aerobic style breathing, because the natural heart was telling the truth about the internal state. Spiritually, the Bible shows the same pattern. A pressured heart becomes divided. A double minded man is unstable in all his ways. James 1:8. A pressured heart loses clarity. The rash heart will understand knowledge. A pressured heart produces toil. The labor of the foolish wearies them. It's Ecclesiastes 10:15. A pressured heart breathes differently. My heart paints, my strength fails. Psalms 38:10. I went through all of these already, right? A pressured heart runs even when nothing is chasing, and that's a true fact. That is a true fact. That is how it's seen. A pressured heart runs even when nothing is chasing it. The wicked flee when no one pursues. Proverbs 28:1. A heart under pressure function like this. When a heart is settled medically and spiritually. Medically, this is public information, y'all. Y'all could go find it. And we all have experienced this. A settled heart beats steadily, breathes evenly, stays regulated, conserves energy, supports clear thinking. The body is not in a fight or flight mode. It is in rest and stability. I know about it because my body has been in a fight or flight mode. So I can talk about this. hmm So spiritually, A settled heart produces rest. My yoke is easy, my burden is light. Matthew 11:30. A settled heart produces clarity. The heart of the wise teaches his mouth. Proverbs 16:23. A settled heart produces confidence. In returning and rest, you shall be saved. In quietness and confidence shall be your strength. Isaiah 30:15. A settled heart produces flow. Out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. Not water of toil, not water of turbulence, not water of chaos, not water of darkness. You know, out of his belly shall flow living waters. A settled heart produces truth. Unite my heart to fear your name. Psalms 86:11. When someone ministers from the spirit, the heart is settled. The breath is steady. The body is at rest. And the message flows and the delivery carries authority. When ministry is done from the flesh instead of the spirit, the body will show it. When ministry is done from the flesh instead of the spirit, the body will show it. The heart is aligned with truth, so the body starts compensating. You'll hear it in the breath, you'll see it in the posture, you'll feel it in the tone. They're carrying something God didn't give, and the weight of that unauthorized assignment shows up physically, or the assignment, unauthorized assignment shows up physically, whatever it is, whatever is causing toiling. Because when God gives you something, it's good. It's good. So this is what happens when someone tries to do spiritual work without spiritual alignment. The spirit produces rest, the flesh produces toil, and when the flesh is running the show, the heart feels the pressure first. The heart feel it first. That's why the Bible it said guard your heart, because whatever you do flows from it. That's Proverbs 4:23. The heart symbolizes the core of one's emotional thoughts and spiritual life. It is depicted as the seat of moral and ethical choices, influences, actions, and decisions. And Romans 10:9 tells us that true belief resides in the heart. Ezekiel 36:26 warn against a hardened heart. So your heart influences choices and actions. That's why the Lord said it's like having a heart attack, because the strain that's put on the heart. You know, when I've seen this in movies. You know, I never had a heart attack, but I've seen this. When a person is having a heart attack, it's hard for them to breathe. You know, it's like a collapse of the lungs, or something of that nature. That's what it seems like. And so when a person is toiling on to that extent, that means it's time to shift something. It's time to change something. And it's scary. That is scary. So I hope we all find rest in the Lord and not have to toil to get a message through, not have to toil to do what, a person is saying God called them to do. There should be, we should be steady, we should be calm, we should be in a place of rest while we are doing what God is calling us to do. It's a time and place for everything. Ecclesiastes talk about it. So until next time.